Hi, John Morgan here with Bub's Marketing Greenhouses. In this video, I'm going to be collecting soil samples and sending them off to WVU to get them tested. Here in West Virginia, you can take a soil sample and send it off through our state extension office, and they'll test the soil for free and give you a report of what you have in your soil and how you need to amend your soil for the growing conditions. It applies to home gardeners, field crops, or really anything related to agriculture here in the state. So today I'm going to be collecting soil here in my garden, and I'm going to be collecting from a few different locations because the key with the sample is to really get kind of an average of your garden. So I'm going to be collecting from 4 or 5 different locations here in the garden and then mixing that soil up so it's a better representation of the garden overall. And right now it's the fall and it's early October, and that's really the perfect time to test your garden soil. Because that is the best representation throughout the year of the nutrients that you have available in your garden. So let's start collecting some samples. Alright, when it comes to collecting samples for your garden, you want to dig down to the depth that you till. So in my case, I dig down about 6 inches. So I want to go about 6 inches deep here to get a little bit of dirt for my sample. And when I cleaned off my garden this fall, I didn't till down to the normal depth that I till to. I just kind of tilled the surface just to kind of till under dead plant material to help it break down during the winter. Okay, so now that I'm down about 6 inches, I kind of want to get a slice right through that entire depth, about like that. So that's going to be my first sample. Now I want to go around and get about 4 to 5 more samples at different points in the garden. Alright, so on this side of my garden where I just collected this sample, I have a little tunnel here with some fall crops. My samples collected, I really want to kind of take my shovel and mix it up really well and also break up any clods or large chunks. I'm going to bag up what I'm going to send off. So I really want to avoid any large pieces of organic matter like that. But I'm just going to get, a few handfuls. They need about 2 cups of soil to test. Big root there. Alright, so today I'm here in my office with the soil sample, and I need to fill out the form to send the sample in to WVU. So to do that, let's jump over to my computer so I can show you the form in a little bit more detail. Alright, so here I am on the WVU soil testing website. You can get there by going to soiltesting.wvu.edu. And what you're going to need to download in order to send in your soil sample is the soil test form. So you can click the link there and you'll bring up this page, and there's the downloadable soil test form, instructions on how to fill out the form, and then also examples of correctly and incorrectly filled out forms. So let's jump over to the form that I'm working on. Of course, I've blocked out some personal information, but this will give us a good idea of what you need to fill in. First of all, you have the sample ID, and unless you're doing a bunch of different samples, it's really not that important. So, I'm doing my garden, so just name the sample garden. Next, we have first name, last name, address. Of course, I've got it blocked out. The date the soil sample was taken. If the soil was limed in the last 12 months, if you add lime to your soil, you would need to mark that there. Of course, I just bought my property a couple years ago, and I haven't limed the soil yet. Previous crops, and then the area, which my garden, it's about 4,000 square feet. It's roughly 40 by 100 feet. And then we have one that's a little bit hard to fill in, soil series. Now, there's a few different ways you can go about finding this information out. My garden, it's Gannett silt loam, and the way that I did that is, well, one way you can go talk to your local NRCS person, or through your county extension office. They can help you figure it out. But if you're kind of a tech person like me, the NRCS actually has all this information online, and you can actually do a map basically of your property. So I pulled up their website, and again, for the sake of my privacy, I didn't want to do where I live, so I pulled up a section of property that's the Bob's Market owns, our uptown location. So it's almost like Google Maps. You can zoom in on it and then outline the area, this AOI tab, or Area of Interest tab. And you basically highlight that, and then you can bring up the soil map of the area. So it has 3 different zones there: WUB, GHB, and DUD. So DUD is Duncannon silt loam. Then we have Gallipolis Urban Land Complex and Wheeling Urban Land Complex. And the way these soil types are named is they're usually named after the area where they were first documented. So Gallipolis Urban Land Complex, it was probably sampled first in the Gallipolis area in Ohio. So the largest section here, up at the top there, is the Wheeling Urban Land Complex. And you can actually click on it and bring up a description of the soil in that area. And a lot of it's really technical, but if you're interested in that kind of thing, you can download a printout of it. And, it breaks down a basic description of the soil. Like the description of the soil is that the setting is mostly terraces. So, Bob's our production facility. It's in along the river in Mason, and leading down to the river edge where it's an older river system, here in the flat valley, you have a series of terraces. You'll notice that if you drive along the Ohio River Valley, there'll be kind of a drop off, then a flat area, then another drop off leading down to the river edge. And it says that it's a stratified loam, defined sandy loam, and loamy sand. See, the parent material is fine loamy alluvium. Alluvium means that it's deposits from floods. Over sandy and gravelly glaciofluvial deposits. So glacial flood deposits. So basically at the end of the last ice age, we had, flooding down that carved out the Ohio River, and it left behind gravel and sand deposits. So basically that's the makeup of that area. But getting back to the form, that's what you need to put in there for soil series. Scrolling on down the form, there are the crop codes, soil texture code, and tillage code. Let's go with tillage codes first, because it's the simplest. You have basically no-till, conventional, or others, which others, I don't really know if there's another option there. My garden, I till it, so it goes under the conventional tillage method. The soil texture code, like the soil survey said, it is a silt loam, so it will be number 9. And then your crop code, this form is designed for people growing field crops, farmers, home gardeners, lawns, you name it, it's listed here. So for me, it would be number 16, home gardens. And then there's a place for other information, any other descriptive information that you want to give about where the soil sample was taken, how it was taken, different information like that. And then the bottom part, that's kind of for official lab use only. And just by looking at it, I see P, K, Ca, magnesium, calcium, potassium, phosphorus. That's where they're going to be recording those tests for the sheet that you'll get back, that describes those properties. So once you get that filled out, you just need to put your sample in a box and send it out to WVU. Now, something that I haven't mentioned is, I'm doing this in West Virginia where soil testing is free. Now, if you live outside of West Virginia, you'll have to check with your state's extension office to see if they offer a similar service. So, I'll leave that up to you. But well, let's get this boxed up and shipped out. I'm here at the post office, and it's time to mail out the sample.
2 weeks later.
Alright, so I got an email today with the results of my soil test. And as you can see there, I've got a few bars that go all the way across on their chart. And that's because I had a couple nutrients that were in the very high range, which, to be honest, surprised me, considering that this garden has been used for a number of years. And as far as I know, it's never been amended with fertilizer or lime. The soil pH was 5.6, and it was potassium and phosphorus that were in the very high range. And then calcium was also high, and magnesium was also kind of in the high range. There were a few recommendations that they listed here on the sheet. For one, for adding lime to the soil, I need to add 59.8 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So for the area that I have to treat here, I'll need around 225 pounds of lime. And also for nitrogen, it recommended, on the sheet anyway, 2 pounds per 1,000 square feet. But they have a note at the bottom, and it says if you're using ammonium nitrate fertilizer, you should apply 6 pounds of ammonium nitrate, 3300 fertilizer, when 2 pounds is recommended per 1,000 square feet. And it also recommends basically, it says for best results, loosen the top 6 to 12 inches of soil and mix in 2/3 of the fertilizer along with the lime in the fall, and then add the remaining third in the springtime. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully it'll help out the soil. So next fall I'll run another test and compare my results. For this and other great information, visit us online at bubsmarket.com.